can meet ourselves by choosing how we want to show up. Let's make 2020 the year that we actually get some shit done. Welcome everybody to another episode of Straight Talk. I am really excited to have Stephanie Morrison with me. She's the owner of Bumble and Bean here in Kamloops, and just really talking about business growth, because this woman is on fire. So when we talk about entrepreneurs really knowing how to pivot and really take on the next level, this lady's doing it all the way. So welcome to the conversation, Stephanie. I'm glad you're here.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me. I'm excited.
Right? Yeah, and I love the room that you're in because it really just reinforces what you do for a living.
Right, thank you. Yes, this is my office. I don't really have one, so this is about it.
Yeah, no, that is perfect. It's perfect. So Bumble and Bean actually started from your own desire to be at home with your kids until they were going to go back to school, and then that kind of shifted.
That's right. I'm actually a trained elementary school teacher, and I taught for 3 years. And when I was pregnant with my first child, that we decided to move back to Kamloops. We moved to Vernon and came back to Kamloops, and I opened up a little family daycare. And it was just me with 7 children total, and I did that for 9 years. But the intent originally was just to do it for a few years until my kids were old enough to go to school and I was going to go back to teaching. But quickly I knew that that was not going to happen. I fell in love with daycare and providing early childhood education to the littles. I was so happy just to have a little family daycare. But then I guess about 8.5 years into it, I was just quickly seeing the trend of the need for more child care. A lot of the kids were getting older and needing after school care. Siblings were trying to get in. My wait list was growing rapidly. And so that's when, after a lot of deliberation, decided to expand and open up our second location.
Did you find that there was a difference between when you're actually, so you're at home, you've got your own kids, your own 2 girls, and then you've got 5 other kids that are hanging out there with you. Did you consider yourself an entrepreneur at that point, or did you consider yourself an entrepreneur when you actually went to go to the second location?
Yeah, I would say when I was on my own, I knew I was running my own business, but it didn't really feel like it per se, to tell you the truth. Not having staff or anything. It's just me in my home. It definitely grew, and it was a change. I struggled with the change in roles.
And what were some of the struggles that you actually had in changing roles?
So I wasn't sure if my family was ready to take the leap with me. My kids grew up with a daycare in their home. They had change tables in their room and cribs in their rooms until they were 10 years old, essentially. And it was going to be a big change. And I knew I was going to be less available per se now with 2 locations. And so I really went back and forth as to whether it was going to be the best thing for me, the best thing for my family, the best thing for the community. So it took a while to come up with the decision to actually expand for the first time. Because you go from mom, watching, with your kids at home and, essentially just a bunch of friends over. And yes, we did early education, but it was just still me in my home, to staff, leasing a space, renovating it, purchasing equipment, knowing that I was going to be not as available to take them to different activities. And it was just so much more than just expanding my business. That's not what it was about. It was
there's a really big component that's about being of service, because you're talking about there was a wait list and I could see the need and I had this desire, and now these kids are older and they needed after school care. So that's not somebody that is running the company. Now, we want to be profitable when we're in business, don't get me wrong. Right? Otherwise you're volunteering, that's a whole different thing. So we want to be profitable. But there's the reason for doing it or why, that driving motivation underneath it is bigger.
Absolutely. Throughout the years, that's really come into play quite a bit, just providing that service and just being there for the family. So we're in Westsyde. Right now we have 4 locations in Westsyde only, and we've come across obstacles in trying to save the program. Our second location was located, like we renovated a school, and we were there for almost 5 years running a after school program, and so it's for school age children. And then December of 2018 we were given notice that the school was going to reopen because Westside's growing, and that was great, but it did put us in a situation where we had to find a new location to save our program, and we only had several months to do so, and it was stressful, and I really relied on my staff, and the families were amazing, and the community of Westside all pitched in trying to help us find this location to help save this program, because at the time we were caring for 48 children a day. There was over 100 families just in that one program that would have lost childcare. And so it was really important to the community to save it, and we did. And then that's when we found our location in the hamlets.
Yeah, which I think is a really incredible program in that, because it's multi-generational. So I'm going to get you to talk a little bit about that. But I also really believe that when we're in business and we're doing it because, and I'm going to say we're called to do it. It feels like it's on purpose, it's on track, we're aligned with it, all those kinds of things. When there's adversity, that actually inspires us for creativity. It actually creates opportunity, because if it had never closed, my suspicion is the hamlets never would have happened either.
Isn't that amazing?
Yeah.
I agree 100%. And I say it all the time to my staff and families, like, as hard as that time was, how amazing that it did happen.
Yeah.
We found a beautiful space. It's in a senior center, and which there's only a handful across Canada of these daycares that are located in a senior center. It's really quite new, and I don't think we would have been looking for another location at the time. We were happy, just with how things were going. And then, so we moved our program over to the hamlets, and we started a multi-generational program there. So we interact with the residents, and it's amazing. But then actually, the school-age kids were invited back to Westside Elementary once it reopened. So we moved our program back to the school, and then opened up a 3 to 5 program in the hamlets. And that became our third location. And I can't say enough about all the programs, but that one in particular is quite amazing to see the relationships.
Well, and what an incredible way to lead change, be willing to engage in it, to do it differently, and then to create that giving back in terms of, the relationships for the multi-generational aspect, for the seniors, for the kids, but it's also about really foundationally creating community, right?
Absolutely.
It's bridging those gaps that maybe wouldn't necessarily happen if you didn't have the program.
I agree. It's really just shown a lot of us, my staff members, me, the kids, the families, just how important community is, and how, coming together, forming those relationships. It's really all about the relationships when running any sort of business, but this one in particular, there's just so much involved. Yeah, it's wonderful. I love it.
Yeah, well, and I'm going to give you kudos for it, because you're willing to look at it and look at it differently. And I don't know exactly how the hamlets came about, but it's that opportunity where if somebody presented the idea, you didn't just look at it and go, oh, yeah, no, it's like, well, how will that work? And I think that's the difference when we look at entrepreneurs and look at people that are willing to pivot in crisis, or when there's a challenge in front of us. And, even here we are in, COVID-19, which is a really big challenge for the majority of businesses. You've bought a brand new commercial building, well, brand new to you. You're renovating completely. You're almost doubling your staff. I think you're going from like 13 to about 25, I think, roughly, you said?
Yes.
So here we are, and you're pivoting and growing, and not just a little incremental growth, like pretty monumental.
Yeah, definitely.
Awesome.
These last 5 years, or in particular the last year and a half, have really grown. But so we started looking for commercial space, because again, our wait list, there's such a need for daycare in this community. And so we've always had our eyes open, and I say we, my husband and I, because we've been displaced before. it is challenging to save programs. And so we wanted our own space as well, just as a little backup, I guess, too.
Well, it's good security, right? It creates a sustainability for your business, which is great.
Absolutely, absolutely. And we've been fortunate enough to be creative to save it and find places, but it gets a little tiresome at times to try saving programs. But so we're really excited about this one. This one came on the market, and we kept it a secret from my staff, just because we weren't sure if it was going to go through. It was a big purchase and lots of inspections to be done. And then all of a sudden, COVID hit. And so we had to decide, and of course it was a no-brainer, though we were going to do it. And then the week after, our numbers dropped from 88 children a day to 1 or 2 a day. And so it was really quite scary. But so about 3 weeks after kind of COVID and after we had removed subjects, it was time to remind my staff that there's going to be life after COVID. And it was a good reminder to me too, that this isn't going to, yes, this is changing business, but businesses can still survive. You just have to change and modify and pivot, like you said. People were calling me crazy when they found out, but I think to have your own business, you have to have a little bit of crazy.
I was going to say, you have to have a little bit of crazy to actually be, and there's calculated risks.
Yes.
And in business,
absolutely.
We need to take calculated risks, or we stagnate and we don't meet the market demand, or we miss the opportunity for that to happen for ourselves. And growth is really great if it's something that we actually want.
Yes.
Working with businesses and clients, not all want to grow. Some are really happy in what they have. Fantastic. Yeah. So long as you can continue to meet the market demand and you're innovating within that, even if you're not actually physically growing the company. You're innovating.
Exactly.
So, there's a mix where you've got to find a little bit of both, but I agree with you. You cannot actually be an entrepreneur if there is not some part of you that's willing to take risks.
Right.
We create our own reality every day.
We really do. And it takes a lot of support from, our loved ones as well, and a lot of faith in us. I don't know if I could have done it without the support and faith of my kids and husband and all my staff, but there's something empowering about, you look back and you're like, I just did that. Holy shit. I
was just going to say, you can have all of the support around you and everything else, but ultimately, you're the one that actually executes the decision. And it's, okay, I am all in. Dear God, let the parachute open, because I'm all in.
Right.
Pretty much don't have a backup plan. This is it.
Right. And,
it's exhilarating, scary,
it is.
And when it comes to fruition, we can look back at it and go, yeah, I just did that. Thank you. I did it with support. I could give everyone, but I did that. I made that difference happen. Right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And it's been a process because, again, I have no business training. It's just been trial and error and learn as I go. A lot of just instinct. And
that's being an entrepreneur.
A little bit crazy, right?
There's definitely some stuff that we need to have some business acumen for or whatever. But honestly, you've grown it organically. You start, okay, I've got 2 of my own. So far, so good. I can add 5 more. I can add a location. But because of that organic growth, there hasn't been, it would be very different if you had no concept of the business, bought into it, and then went, oh, what the hell? What am I doing? What staff? What? Where? So
absolutely,
you've grown it as if it is your child, really.
Yes. Yeah.
This will be baby number 3.
Yes, exactly. And I say, they're my babies. They are. Part of the struggle would be the amount of time you invest in your babies, and. I invest a lot of my time and energy into the business in hopes, I guess, maybe one day I can step back a little bit and be a little bit more available on weekends and evenings with my families. But when you're growing a business, it does. It's, definitely a sacrifice as well.
Absolutely. And, it's a lifestyle choice.
And
lots of times when we're starting out, we'll actually make the choice with no awareness of what we just said yes to.
Yeah.
Like
Right.
to really not understanding just how much time it's going to take, or how many evenings or weekends, or how many additional phone calls. And we keep believing it's going to shift sooner than it does.
Yes.
You know, and that is the reality of running a business, means that if there's a demand, you're it. Even if you have staff, you're it. It's your business. It's
Absolutely.
not theirs. As delightful and as great as they can be. So there is that place where there takes a lot of understanding and I'm going to say compassion at times, in terms of from the family. It really does.
Absolutely.
You know, when you look back at it now, given that you're supporting like 160 families, 160 kids, you know, that's a substantial number of little people in your world on a daily basis.
Right.
Really?
I get a lot of hugs. A lot of hugs. So we'll be, once the church is fully licensed, we'll be at 160.
Okay.
And so, my family understands that this next couple of years, I keep buying daycares, and so they're kind of used to it. But I mean, with each location too, I'm learning that it's actually a little bit easier. I've done it so many times now where it's almost like a recipe.
There's a lot of tipping points in business where, or growth points where you'll actually get to a certain level. So for example, it's easier to run a company at 6 figures than it is at, you know, the $50,000 mark, because you're resourcing yourself differently every time you have that growth and that expansion. So you now have more people or more key people in the right places to actually help you manage all the moving parts. Whereas when you were way down here smaller, you were managing all the moving parts. You were it.
Absolutely.
Right? So as you keep going, you're right, it does actually and can be easier. And you might actually find you get more time off because you've got more resources around you to make it work. That would be the goal.
Yeah, I'm thinking, I will probably get there sooner than I did with the other locations.
Yeah.
And I was actually reflecting recently, because it's been quite a while since, fees have been raised. And because of the amount of families I'm able to care for and provide for, we've actually been able to keep fees lower too, because the businesses, each location kind of almost funds each other a little bit, if that makes sense. It's all pretty amazing little package that we're able to provide then for families and staff. Like, we're able to staff a lot of Westside women, moms. We provide care for their kids. So it's a really interesting and fun and amazing kind of experience for a whole bunch of families, not just the little kids. I don't know, it's something pretty special about it. I love it.
Oh. So how did you come up with the name Bumble and Bean?
I have no idea. I was just farting around. I was just farting around one day, and I love the something and something. So my family daycare was Little Scholars Family Daycare for the longest time. Yep. And then I just thought, well, I needed to change it up when we did our second location. And I was just looking at baby toys, and there was something, the Bumbo chair, and remind me of Bumble, and I was like, Bumble and Bean. I'm like, that's cute. Beans grow, and
right? They start out as little beans, and from there
they grow, exactly. And so, and I really like the Bumble and Bean, and I thought, well, that's something. It doesn't make any sense at all,
it's
but
perfect.
people remember it.
It's perfect.
It's cute. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah,
but I wish I had a reason. Some of the people guess, is it my kids' nicknames? And no sentimental value at all to it. Just
farting around, creativity, here we go, and it works. And I mean, that's where you get, and then your reputation and the branding and everything else that comes with the business. It really, often people say, well, it's all about the name. No, actually, it's all about the service and the relationships that get the name remembered.
Absolutely. We work closely with TRU and Sprott Shaw students as well. Just getting out into the community, providing a good service beyond what your business is really about too. So yes, daycare is essentially providing care for children, but we're helping to train future ECEs. Some of my staff members started doing online circle times through Zoom, so the kids were able to interact. We're providing emotional support to families and to the parents. We're there supporting each other. Yeah, it's more than just, like you said, the name.
And I think that's a really important piece, and especially as entrepreneurs, and regardless of what our businesses are, it's the relationships that we are and we have and that we build, we invest in, we grow. Right? And so one of the questions that I've been asking everybody in terms of Straight Talk, just because right now we're all in COVID, but as you look back at yourself in terms of this process of coming into COVID, the growth that you've done, those pieces, what's been really important or really impactful for you that you went, oh, never would have thought about it that way? When you look back at yourself, 5 months, 6 months coming through this, what do you want to see or what do you want to remember yourself for?
I think it sounds kind of cheesy, but and not me per se, but just a guiding light or this light of positivity in families' lives, in my staff lives, in the children. It became really evident through COVID, just how much we needed each other and how important it was.
Part of what I'm aware of is especially through COVID and with kids being at home. And now all of a sudden, you've got people that are saying, but I never, ever wanted to be a teacher. And I'm supposed to be teaching. And, and I'm hearing myself say to whether it be clients or friends, it's like, let go of being the teacher, just connect. Because honestly, that's what can be learned later. Because you're right. It is about the connections. It's about the sense of safety, security, and if you're pulling your hair out as a parent, trust me, your kid's not having any more fun.
It's crazy out there right now.
It really is.
And we've been all thrown into the situation where we were not prepared, put in roles that we never thought we would be in as well. And everything happened all at once. So I hear from some parents who are struggling with what to do with their kids. They're struggling with school. And I tell them all the time, first and foremost, it's the connection. We're the philosophy, so we're a play-based and child-centered daycare. And so it really does encompass our philosophy anyway. So any of the parents kind of know as well that children learn through those connections, playing, going outside, just, picking flowers and helping to garden, making dinner.
I think we all learn when we're having fun. We all learn,
Absolutely.
Regardless of age, even when I'm delivering a keynote or a training program, if the audience and people engaging and we're having fun, and we can laugh, we made it better, we enjoyed it, and it didn't feel like, oh my God, I had to learn that.
At first they wanted the homework done, and it sounded like, there was that expectation. They weren't, or they put the expectation on themselves. So I think now things are a little bit more relaxed. People are falling into that good routine, but the parents out there, kudos for just keeping those kids alive and, just and happy and healthy and excited to go back to school.
Yeah, we can't actually de-escalate a child when we have escalated ourselves. So if it means that we put something away and we all just go hang out and chill, have at her. Yeah.
Yes, I agree. I think for parents, if you can just focus on the kids, just play with them for a little bit. It doesn't take much. 20 minutes of undivided attention. Hopefully other employers understand too that there are kids at home. Work's not going to be quite the same.
I literally had a call with a client and she's in her vehicle in her driveway. And I'm like, oh, okay. And she's like, yeah, this is the quiet room in the house right now.
Right? It's like, because you got to do what works right now. You're just surviving.
Right? So it really is finding that place as we move through this and creating the environments of supports and stuff. So as we start to wrap this up, is there a couple of things that you would really just want people to know, whether it be to future entrepreneurs in this industry or to any of your parents?
I would say to any of the parents, oh my goodness, to thank them for their support. The community of Westside, even Kamloops in general, has been so supportive of our program, and we just look forward to continuing to provide service for the community of Westside. Like, we really do love the families out here. And just with COVID, like, it's not going to last forever, that they're doing a great job. Everyone's doing such a good job. The kids are just so full of life. They don't get it.
And that's a good thing. That's a good thing.
It is.
Yeah.
It is. It is a good reminder. And for us, it's a good escape from it all too. Like, we kind of get lost in it. We're kind of lucky in that sense where, COVID hasn't been that bad for us, I guess.
It's okay. You don't have to be guilty to say that. And I appreciate there's businesses like yours that are growing, that are thriving, they're surviving, they're doing really well. COVID isn't something you created to take advantage of anyone. It's okay to be successful, and it's really okay to be successful in COVID. I think it's an important message for people, because we start apologizing because we know how bad somebody else has it. We make that comparison, right? But it's really not about a comparison. It's, I'm going to thrive, I'm going to be healthy, I'm going to contribute to our community and make this work, and I will help you when you are in a position that we can do that for you as well.
Yeah, that's what it comes down to, is just being ready to help people when they're ready for it. It's really quite exciting, but yeah, it is a interesting kind of mixture of emotions.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and you are not the only person who's having that kind of reaction. It's very real, and so just acknowledging that it's there.
Yeah, and honestly, that's why I think I was so hesitant too to tell my staff and families about the church, is because who was I at the time to all set in? Like, it felt like I was kind of just showing off in a sense, like, and I didn't want that. I just thought, nope, it's not the right time. And because you kind of shy away when everyone else is, or not everyone else, but when so many families
lots
are
of people are
struggling.
and it feels, and you're not, and it's good that you're not, and it's good that the service is there. But it can be an uncomfortable place to sit. And again, it's new. We're not used to this.
So COVID, has been a really good learning experience, I think, for a lot of people. And for, I feel really lucky and blessed to have gone through it. Yeah. And I'm excited about what's coming next. I really am.
And that's the sign of a true entrepreneur, is because we don't get scared. We lean in, and it's like, oh, what else could this mean? Because there's a creativity and innovation in we don't know, so we get to create our own reality again.
Yeah.
It's actually, it's a fun way to play.
It is. Yeah. You kind of feel like you're in this little bubble of bliss. You're like, life's good.
And that's perfectly a great way to end, because life is good. Life is good. So thanks for being a part of this. Thanks for saying yes and coming on and just having a conversation. I appreciate it.
Yeah, no, thank you. This was wonderful. Thank you so much for having me.
You are so welcome, my friend. All right. Take care and have a fabulous rest of your day.
Thank you. You too. Bye.
Bye. Stay tuned for future episodes where I interview other leaders from across Canada. If you want to be a part of Straight Talk or have a leader in mind that would be a great fit, let's have a conversation.